What is up, people? In sad news, I come to you in this video, this impromptu video, because of what I pretty much just read on the internet, and that's one of my favorite childhood actors, one of the guy that was in most of the movies I liked when I was younger, has passed away, and that's Robin Williams. At first, I didn't believe. Well, you have all these, what do you want to call it? All these hoaxes, and always says, so and so has died. I read it on a few people's page, and then they say it's all confirmed that in apparent suicide, I guess he killed himself. But I must say, he was in a lot of the movies that I enjoyed growing up in the '90s. I said '90s movies were the '90s were my favorite decade. So him being one of my favorite comic actors. I mean, every role he did. I mean, he went all over. Most of his movies were definitely comedies, but then you had some weird ones that he did portray an interesting character, like the Night Listener. If you never heard that, or 1 Hour Photo. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give my top 5 Robin Williams movies, and this is no particular order, and this is just my favorite ones, my top 5 Robin Williams movies. And the first one that I decided to go with is Jumanji, old school one where as a child his character was, they found, him and his girl found a board game, and the board game, if once you roll the dice, you're part of the game, and whatever roll you roll, and in the middle was this ball, and whatever the ball said actually happened. And at one point, as a child, his character gets sucked into the game, and the only person that sees it is this girl, and no one believes her. So years and years pass until this family moves into the house that he was in, and the two kids, the one girl from Jurassic Park, find it. No, what am I talking about? It's Kristen Dunst. Wow, this is old school, but right? Am I right? Yes, Kristen Dunst. This is one of her first movies, but Kristen Dunst and the brother find this game, and they're playing it again, and they roll it, and it unleashes Robin Williams from this game that he's been in there for 30-something years or 20-something years, whatever it was. But then they have to, the only way to end the game is to finish it. So they have to find the woman that played the game and finally finish it. But this was one of my favorite movies growing up. Again, like I said, he was just one of those comedic actors that acted like a kid. So it was, all of his movies that he did were like kid friendly. Another one, this was a little bit older, I guess. I love this movie though, and that's Patch Adams with Robin Williams. I mean, he's a doctor, and he's got a different, theory of what you should do when you're, most of the days the doctors are like uptight and they do what they have to do, but he brought a new aspect into it. He brought comedy and tried to keep people happy and everything. And just a whole movie. I mean, if you haven't seen this movie, you're missing out. I'd say definitely check it out because it's a great one. Like I said, he's a doctor that likes to make people laugh in any situation. So he pulls all these antics, and then by the end he makes his own quote unquote hospital. So that's definitely one of my favorites. This is another one growing up. I loved it, and it's Jack. This is where he's a 10-year-old kid trapped in a 40-year-old body. He has one of those aging diseases where you age really quick, but it's a little different. Looks like a grown man. This disease, they still look like little kids, but in this one, he's supposed to be a 10-year-old boy, but he looks like a 40-year-old guy, and he ends up going to school. They let him go to school, and he makes friends and everything, and it's just I think it was like 4th grade he was in, but it's definitely a fun little kids movie. I loved it, but if you haven't seen it, check it out, Jack. This is probably my favorite one in it. Favorite movie with him in it. Stars him, Dustin Hoffman, Julia Roberts, and Bob Hoskins, and that's Hook. Pretty much Peter Pan grows up, he gets married, he has kids of his own, and to get Peter Pan back into Neverland, Hook kidnaps his kids, and Peter Pan forgot everything, doesn't know how to fly, doesn't remember anything, doesn't remember Neverland, and pretty much they find out that it is Peter Pan, and they're trying to jog his memory, and then he finally comes back. I mean, if you have not seen this movie, all these movies, if you haven't seen them, you definitely got to check them out. But out of all of them, I'd say this is my favorite. So if you haven't seen this movie, definitely check it out. It's to do with Peter Pan. Check it out. Great movie. Classic movie. Yeah. And the last one here is one that he's probably most known for, if not like his stand-up and everything. But this is one of the movies that was definitely one of his biggest ones when it came out. And that's Mrs. Doubtfire. Him and his wife, they divorce and they have 3 kids. So, he's trying to fight for custody. And he only gets visits, but he gets, what do you want to call it? Where the person comes in and sits and watches. So, he doesn't like that. So, at one point, he notices that the wife is looking for a babysitter. So, he goes and makes himself into a woman. He gets all this prosthetics done, and he has a whole suit and get up. So he ends up pretending to be the babysitter, and she hires him. So he pretty much is watching his kids. They find out about it, so they all try to keep it hush hush. And if you haven't seen this movie, definitely watch it. It's a great one for when I was younger. So those right there are my top 5 Robin Williams movies. Again, it is. I am very saddened because, again, Robin Williams was one of my favorite actors growing up as a kid. And, as you get older, it eventually happens. But I think they said he was 63. And it's, I guess, apparent he did it to himself. It's a sad day because I do, like I said, he was one of my favorite actors growing up. So, again, rest in peace, Mr. Robin Williams. And, yeah, I will see you in my next video. Hopefully it's in a better light and a happier video. So I will see you.